In this video, not only am I going to demonstrate how Prince Charles was a quote-unquote black man, but I will also highlight other dark-skinned and brown people of nobility all over the British Isles from the early modern period in history. As well, I will be breaking down who the Jacobites really were. The author of this book is John McKee. He was a notable figure who served in various capacities, including as an envoy to France under King William III and as an informant and secret agent for the British government. As a witness, he documented his observations and experiences, including his time at the court of Great Britain. His memoirs contain accounts of events, interactions, and individuals he encountered during his service and involvement in various political and diplomatic affairs. So I'm going to read page 39, starting with this gentleman, George Fitzroy, Duke of Northumberland. George Fitzroy is son to King Charles II by the Duchess of Cleveland, was one of the captains of King James Horse Guards, which he quitted at the Revolution. He is a man of honour, nice in paying his debts, and living well with his neighbours in the country. Does not much care for the conversation of men of quality or business. Is a tall, black man. Let me say that again. He is a tall, black man like his father, the king, about 40 years old. Okay, so this is George Fitzroy's mum, and this is his dad. Remember, these are the parents of a black man, and the text said that he is a tall black man like his father, the king, King Charles. But when I see these pictures of George Fitzroy and his dad, King Charles, that the internet wants to provide for us, I do not see a black man. Those descriptions do not match this picture. Okay, let's look at some more descriptions. Let's read this passage about King Charles's other son, Charles Lennos, Duke of Richmond. Okay, Charles Lennos, Duke of Richmond, is son to King Charles II by the Duchess of Portsmouth. He is a gentleman, good-natured to a fault, very well bred, and has many valuable things in him. Is an enemy to business, very credulous, well-shaped, black complexion, much like King Charles, not 30 years old. Okay, so you see that, right? Let's move on. Here we have Daniel, Earl of Nottingham, Secretary of State. Is the eldest son to Mr. Finch, Lord Chancellor in the reign of King Charles II. All right, let's scroll down a bit because they have a lot to say about him here. He has also the exterior air of business and application enough to make him very capable, in his habit and manners very formal. A tall, thin, very black man, like a Spaniard or Jew. Let me say that again. He is a very black man, like a Spaniard or Jew. So according to John McKay, this very black man favors the Jews and the Spaniards, meaning they must have also been very black, no? Interesting. All right, so now I'm just going to quickly scroll through a few more descriptions before moving to the next subject. Who we got here? Charles, Duke of Somerset, Master of the Horse, of the ancient family of Seymour, who made so great a figure in reign of Edward VI. Okay, so let's see who Charles, Duke of Somerset is and how does he look. He is of middle stature, well-shaped, a very black complexion, a lover of music and poetry, of good judgment, but by reason of a great hesitation in his speech, wants expression. He is about 42 years old. What does it say about this man? is firm for the constitution of his country, and have only one daughter, who will be the richest heiress in Europe. He is a black, ruddy complexion man, is 60 years old. This is what ruddy means if you don't know already. All right, let's see. John, Duke of Buckinghamshire and Lord Privyseal, was the Earl of Mulgrave in the reign of King Charles II. All right, and how does this man look? He is of middle stature, of a brown complexion, with a sour, lofty look, near 60 years old. All right, let me see what else we have got here. All right, let's switch it up a bit. We got the Duke of Bedford here. It says, he has one of the greatest estates in England. He is of low stature, fair complexion, not 30 years old. So, again, I'm not saying that there was no white people here. We all know that there was white people here. I'm just here to shed light on a narrative we are not spoken of. We've also got the Duke of Bolton, who is also of fair complexion, about 40 years old. We've also got Charles, Duke of St. Albans, who is also son to King Charles II. He is of black complexion, not too tall as the Duke of Northumberland, yet very like King Charles. Turned of 30 years old. Every one of his sons sound like they were black, like very dark, because we've read some other descriptions where it says that people are brown of complexion. And here is a picture of Charles, Duke of St. Albans, who is King Charles II's son, and this does not match the description. All right, we've also got Charles Fitzroy, Duke of Grafton, is the grandson to King Charles II, who is also a tall black man, about 25 years old. So it sounded to me like the whole family was quite dark. It wasn't just Charles, it wasn't just James. It seems like they were very dark people, or brown, or black. Again, another unique description, Sir Nathan Wright, Lord Keeper. He is a plain man, both in person and conversation, of middle stature, inclining to fat, has a fat, broad face, much marked with the smallpox. All right, I think we have read enough here. If you want to read this book, you can. It is free on Internet Archives. It is so juicy, and it really shows you how black the Stuart line of the monarchy really was. And I'm sure many of the other lines prior them were black as well, but this family line seems to be the one we have the most evidence of their description. As you can see, the author of this book, John McKee, was very particular and descriptive with his observations of these people. But who are these people? Who are these people he's spying on or reporting information about? Well, these people are the Jacobites. Who are the Jacobites, you ask me? For those who don't know, well, the Jacobites were supporters of the Stuart monarchy, descending from James II of England and his successors. James II faced conflicts over religious tolerance and absolutism, which led to the Glorious Revolution, which isn't so glorious at all. This revolution came after his father, Charles I, was executed. After Charles I's death, his son, Charles II, also James's big brother, faced challenges, including demands for Presbyterianism in Scotland. Presbyterianism is a force of Christianity where churches are led by elected leaders called elders. These leaders look after local congregations, which are part of bigger groups. It started in Scotland during the Protestant Reformation and emphasizes following the Bible and making decisions together as a church community. Despite defeats and compromises, Charles II returned to England in 1660 with the support of Parliament. However, Charles II's wife, Queen Catherine, couldn't produce an heir, raising concerns about the next succession, which will be his brother James, who is a Catholic in a newly Protestant realm. So, to keep his people calm, Charles agreed to marry his niece Mary, who is James's daughter, to the Protestant William of Orange. James II became king after Charles II's death, but faced opposition due to his Catholicism. His attempts to impose Catholic policies sparked uproar, leading to William of Orange being invited to take the throne. James fled to France, and Parliament declared he had abdicated the throne, making William and Mary joint monarchs. James tried but failed to regain his kingdoms and spent the rest of his life in exile. Historians have varied opinions on his reign, and so do I, so let's get into it. Firstly, let's get into some areas that the mainstream history likes to miss out. Most people are aware that Charles II was known as the Black Boy. It was said that when Charles was born in 1630, he was nicknamed the Black Boy by his mother, Queen Henrietta Maria, because of his dark and swarthy appearance. And even here on this website, it says that Charles's appearance was anything but English, with his sensuous curling mouth, dark complexion, black hair, and dark brown eyes. He much resembled his Italian maternal grandmother, Marie de' Medici, side of the family. During his escape after Battle of Worcester, he was referred to as a tall black man. See, it's not even just John McKee. It's during his escape after the Battle of Worcester as well, and he was referred to a tall black man in parliamentary wanted posters. One of the nicknames he required was the Black Boy. His height at 6 feet 2 inches, probably inherited from his Danish paternal grandmother, Anne of Denmark, also set him apart from his contemporaries in a time when the average Englishman was far smaller than today. There was even a situation during the Black Lives Matter movement where people advocated and protested to change the name of Black Boy Lane. And of course, our trusted government did it for us. And it's funny because a lot of Black people thought that this was a significant time that we was being heard, but no, of course they're only going to listen to the things which involves destroying our history. They're probably waiting for the perfect opportunity to take down that road, to be honest, just to hide the fact that King Charles was a black boy. So of course they're going to spend all of this money. Look, politically correct councillors are set to spend £186,000 of taxpayers' cash to rename the 300-year-old road, despite no evidence it has racist connotations. Come on. Come on. Do you know how much things we have demanded from this government, but yet they're going to spend this money to change the name of that road? That was not for us, that was for them. And it's absolutely pathetic. Now we've just destroyed history yet again, making it even harder for us to trace down the truth. And the debate about the black boy symbol at pubs and inns is like a tug of war between two sides. On one hand, some people think it's just a harmless nod to English history, while others say it's racist and should be taken down. But both sides are kind of off the mark because they're missing the real story behind the symbol and its connection to Charles Stuart II. Turns out, Charles wasn't the white king everyone thought he was, and the black boy symbol doesn't really represent him accurately either. So whether people want to keep the symbol up or tear it down, they are basing their arguments on incomplete info. It's like arguing over a puzzle piece when you don't have the whole picture. This situation just shows how much we still have to learn about history, especially when it comes to Black history in Europe. Back in January 2017, there was a commotion about a pub called the Black Boy. The new owners thought about changing its name to Shinfield Arms because there had been negative comments over the Black Boy name. But then, after hearing from 250 people on social media who weren't too keen on the change, they decided to stick with the old name. The company said they wanted to be respectful of the pub's history and all of that. So, in the end, the pub Black Boy stayed put, which I think is a great thing because if they did change the name, it would have encouraged other pubs to change the name. And then that's history erased, just like that. Simply because some of us just don't know ourselves and have been confused with lies and think everything is racist. And no, It's not. Also, we have been bamboozled with these words and terms. For example, the word white is also not what we think it means today. Today, when you think of a white person, you think it's someone who is non melanated, where in fact the word white back in the day was a social status. So you may see in some places that King James and Mary, etc., were white, and then straight away you're going to think of skin complexion. But no, it's not like that at all. Let me show you what it is. So if you look here, these are government documents from the United States. So let's read. Description is color white, complexion ruddy. We've already gone over what ruddy means. If not, this is a description of what ruddy means. And then here it says, I was born in the county of England. I think that says Durham. County of Durham, England. Again, here's another one. Description. Color is white, meaning the social status is white. But complexion of their skin is dark. I was born where? Ireland. Okay? Let's go to another one. Okay, and here we've got a David Stuart MacDonald. His color status, color is white. His complexion is dark. And he was born in Scotland. Over here we've got James Campbell McGregor. He is also color status white, but he is of fair complexion. So it proves you don't have to be black, you don't have to be white, or as they would have said, fair instead of white in those times, in order to be white. White is a social status. And these documents are from the late 1800s. All right, now let's talk about this waxwork effigy of King Charles. So here it says King Charles II, Stuart of Scotland, Highlander. Image location, Westminster Wax Museum, Abbey, London, England, and Jesus Chapel, Islip Chantry. This is a wax effigy of King Charles II, grandson of King James I of England, that was taken of him immediately after his death in 1685. So he's saying the waxwork was made immediately after he died. This black wax effigy of King Charles stood over his grave 150 years after his death. The wax figure was then transferred to Jesus Chapel, Islip's Chantry, where it was photographed by Sir Benjamin Stone in 1896. But what's funny is if you look at this waxwork now, the one that they've got in the Westminster Abbey or in the Jesus Chapel, it's very similar, but the skin is much lighter. He's a bit tanned, but he's not black like the original one that we see here. That is nowhere to be found now. But I'm happy that when they did transfer the original one, there was pictures taken. And if this is how he looked, then it explains the hair. It really confused me. Like if you look at these pictures. Now I'm going to end this video with one of my most favorite pieces of evidence that shows that the Jacobites were dark-skinned people as well as white people. So after the last Jacobite uprising called the Battle of Culloden in 1746, led by one of the descendants of the Stuart line family, who is also called Charles, because you know how these guys all like to name each other after one another, for significant meaning too. But this Charles, who is called Charles Edward Stuart, who was also the son of exiled James King II, that we were speaking about earlier in the video, he thought he had enough support to reclaim his throne for the Stuart line. But he was wrong, and it ended up being a short and brutal battle, with the Jacobites facing heavy losses. And despite some of the lingering support, the uprising ended there, making the Battle of Culloden the last Jacobite uprising. After that, many Jacobites were murdered, but some were actually taken from Ireland and Scotland and put on ships departing from Liverpool to be transported as slaves, aka indentured servants, because the word slave had different meaning then as well. Slaves were indentured servants. We have now twisted what slave means into this day, but these people were indentured servants or prisoners of war. They were prisoners of war, exiled from their land, stripped from their positions, stripped from their homes, divided from their families. It was that type of experience, okay? They were sent over to the Caribbean and the Americas. But what is interesting is that there is a log of these exiled Jacobites, and I happen to have them. So let's go through this list and let's read the descriptions of these people together. All right. So, Jacobite gleanings from state manuscripts, short sketches of Jacobites, the transportations in 1745. Okay, so it says an exact list and description of 150 rebel prisoners shipped at Liverpool on board the Veteran. So it says that these people were taken near Antigua and carried to Martinico. So this is the Caribbean. Let's read through some of these people. John Adam, profession labourer, and here's the descriptions over here. Brown, smooth-faced. Brown and smooth-faced. William Bell, age 46. He is a weaver, and his description is black, curled hair, strong made. These people are also quite short, I can see. He's 5'4". The previous guy was 5'1" and 1/4 or something. But Dougal Campbell, servant, also brown complexion, well made, ruddy. Alex Catanack, black, ruddy, healthy. Dougal Campbell, servant, brown. We've got Alex Campbell, pock-pitted, whatever that means. We've got John Campbell, swarthy. And the list goes on. What are the other names we've got here? Alex Davidson, ruddy. Andrew Edwards, black, well made. Alex Goodbrand, brown. John Grant, black. Alex Grant, brown. Guessing these two may be family. Josh Hinchcliffe, black. And it says where they're from as well. John Johnson, Lancashire, brown. John Kennedy, Perth, black and well made. Got Duncan Macpherson, thin, pale, and sickly. I don't know if he's pale because he's ill or if he's pale because he's white, but he doesn't sound like he's doing too good. Angus Mintosh, black, very strong made. Peter Mintosh seems like family, brown, long chin. And you just keep reading through, as you can see. Let's go over here. You see how they've all got these particular names as well. So there's us thinking that, oh, we've got white names, and that's not even how it is. Like, black people were everywhere. These European names were our names first. These quote unquote white names were our names first. Please remember that. Donald McGillis, black, short necked. Donald McDonald, red hair, strong. Alan McDougall, black, well made. And the list just goes on. You can see I'm going to say about 98% of this list are all dark complexion, brown people, and they're all coming from places like Edinburgh, Aberdeen, they're coming from York, they're coming from Perth. These are all black Europeans from the British Isles that were transported to the Americas. Look at these names. Eliza McFarlane, black, lusty, ruddy, and Mac means the son of. These people have established names. Oh, look, here's my second name. My second name is actually Thompson. Here we've got James Thompson, brown and sickly. Oh no. Will Thompson, dark hair, healthy. And when I was younger, I used to think that my name was from a slave master. But funny enough, there was a lot of black slave masters too. But we will get into that in another video. As you can see, these Jacobites from Scotland, Ireland, and England were very diverse in skin complexion. It wasn't about skin color and race then, it was more about nation and bloodline, but it then led into a race thing. But according to theory, the Stuart line and the Jacobites spoke Hebrew as well as other languages from the British Isles. Also, the Stuarts were descendants of Jacob and also the tribe of Judah, as you can see from the United Kingdom coats of arms, which could also explain their ideology and their determination about the divine right to rule. Make of this what you will. I hope this resonates with you, and maybe if we can continue to teach one another, we can start to put the pieces together and figure out what is really happening here. Like, honestly, it's a crazy world. But on that note, stay blessed, and I'm sending my love to all of you.